Good morning, traders. I am Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Wednesday, June 26th. We are coming off another mixed day on Wall Street this morning after the S&P 500 and NASDAQ made a comeback, but the Dow stumbled. The NASDAQ tumbled 220 points during regular trading yesterday, or more than 1.25%. The S&P 500 added 21 points, or nearly 0.4%. The Dow turned red, giving up almost 300 points, or more than 3/4%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Emily. How you doing? Well, listen, I'm watching the S&Ps. The S&Ps are positive 0.03. That's not a huge move, but it is green. Semiconductors are still continuing to show gains, which, we'll see if that's going to be able to hold today. I'm a little cautious today, I will tell you. Nivida, Nvidia is scheduled to hold a shareholders meeting tomorrow and, or excuse me, today at noon. So, that could be some, it could result in some positive press releases coming out. So keep an eye and shares in Nvidia for some additional gains. We had economic data coming out, new home sales due out after the opening. That's interesting. It looks like the home sales are kind of leveling off and maybe even falling a little bit. What else do we see? Southwest Airlines, they issued a guidance warning this morning, bringing down the entire sector. Not good. RIVN, ticker RIVN, yesterday after the close, it was announced that Volkswagen is invested $1 billion into RIVN. Now it's a joint venture, and listen, they got money to spend. Volkswagen's really committed to this deal. They want to see it. I see Whirlpool, and Vista Outdoors. They're those stocks are moving higher on takeover interest, so that's positive. We're taking a little bit. Let's move over a little bit and let's take a look at what's going on in Europe. Opening prints were big. When the European markets opened, the DAX was higher by 1%, but look at the DAX now. It's now down 0.2%. I will have to say that the German Consumer Climate Index report came out and it fell unexpectedly to a negative 21.8. And, this is really, an estimation for July. Now, the June was a negative 21. So, that negative consumer climate is still there in Germany. And for it to go from up 1% to down 0.2%, yeah, that kind of scares me. The FTSE was also higher. It's now down 0.2%. The CAC was also higher. It's now down, 0.75 point. Those are kind of scary. Oil and mining stocks are showing some positive activity in London, but France, they got that political uncertainty due to the pending elections that are coming up this weekend. That's going to cause bank stocks to, weaken, and that's going to, cause, the market as a whole for France to, show concern. And when they show concerns, that means lower stock prices. Okay, let's take another peek at oil. Oil is trading higher this morning, and it's kind of surprised me. WTI is at $81.24. Brent is at $85.35. Now here's the deal. Yesterday we had the API stockpiles report that came out after the close, and it showed a build of 914 million barrels. Now a build is actually negative for oil prices, yet oil prices are expected, or oil prices are trading higher. The EIA. That's the big one that's coming out today. They're expecting, a draw. They're expecting a 2.3 million barrel draw when their numbers come out. So if that happens, I do expect, oil prices to stay firm, maybe rise a little bit. But there really is that, pending shortfall in oil supply that's coming up in the third quarter. There are elevated tensions in the Middle East that is concerning for the markets. But demand from China is important, and we do get some economic data from China this weekend. I think their PMI data are coming out on Saturday. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
And Bill, painting a broad stroke over everything we should be watching this morning, giving us clues of what we should be tuning into today. And we're going to get through all the details here on NewsWare's Trade Talk. And we're going to, before we get to the economic events, which, these pieces of data have been, interesting to watch, trying to figure out what the Fed's going to do next. But before we get there, we're going to turn to earnings action. Again, not very heavy in terms of earning action, but, a few names to note. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings?
We're going to start off with Progressive Software. That's ticker PRGS. Paul, Richard, Gray, Sam. They beat by 14 cents on higher revenue. Well, hey, when they released, that stock jumped. It was trading like 51. But yeah, look at it now. It's down, 1.44% to $48. It was a beat on higher revenue. I got to read into that report a little bit, but FedEx, ticker FDX, they beat by 6 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. That stock's up 14.6%. I mean, I saw when it was at 280, I was trying to execute it, and it just kept trading higher. I couldn't get into it, and next thing you know, it reached over 290, and I had to, I didn't want to, I didn't want to chase it anymore. But the stock's trading 293.75 in a big move. It's up. FedEx is up $37. So yeah, that was a nice move. General Mills, GIS, Grace India Sam, they beat by 2 cents, but it was done on lower revenue. So there's some concerns there. The stock's down 4.48% this morning. Paychex, ticker PAYX, Paul Apple, Yellow X-Ray. We're still waiting on that one. It hasn't come out yet. Upcoming this afternoon, we got Levi Strauss, ticker LEVI, Larry Edward, Victor India. EPS is, coming in at 11 cents. Expected move is 9.43%. Remember, last quarter, they raised the full year guidance to 117 to 127. So that indicates, like 30 cents a quarter. I believe I could, come up with something positive. We got to keep an eye on shares of Levi Strauss after, for an earnings move after the bell. And let's not forget Micron. That's the big one coming out after the bell today. Ticker MU, Michael Uncle. Their EPS is 35 cents. Expected move is 12.81%. Last quarter, they said adjusted EPS 45 cents plus or minus 75 cents. So yeah, their 35 EPS is absolutely beatable. Let's keep an eye on that. Tomorrow morning, we got Walgreens, ticker WBA, EPS is 68 cents. Expected move is 7.32%. And McCormick, spice maker, ticker MKC, Michael Kilo, Charlie, their EPS is 59 cents. Expected move is 6.71% when they release tomorrow morning, Emily.
And Bill, the other thing you're keeping track of this morning are those economic events. You did mention the data on housing coming out, but give us a rundown of everything we should be watching when it comes to the day's economic events.
Yeah, I mean, at 10 a.m. we get the new home sales, and then at 10:30 a.m. we get the EIA oil stockpiles report. Housing prices, showed weakness. I shouldn't say they showed weakness. They showed a modest increase in April, but they fell short of expectations a little bit. So housing is a little bit cautious in my book. We did hear from two Fed bank governors yesterday. I mean, Michelle Baumann and Lisa Cook spoke. Bauman's very hawkish. She's maintaining her hawkish stance, emphasizing that the Fed is not ready yet to lower interest rates. Whereas in Governor Lisa Cook presented a more balanced view. She's acknowledging that progress is being made to control inflation, but she remains cautious on the timing of potential interest rates. She did express some optimism about seeing additional progress in the Fed's inflation battle this year. So I was a little bit more happy to see Cook's comments than Michelle Baumann, who is really clearly in the hawk camp. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic data going on today, Emily.
Bill, by the time we get to this point in the show, I think what else could you possibly be watching today? You're giving us historical data from yesterday and the Fed speak, looking ahead at today's events and reports. And still, there's more information you're keeping track of. This is including data and information from different sectors and segments, news items from things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings. You look at stocks grouped together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. You give us a breakdown every morning of what else you're watching. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I'm showing 11 higher, 14 lower, the rest unchanged. That has me a little bit cautious going into today. I will tell you. I'm looking at my FANG stocks, seeing some gains in Apple and Amazon. Even Tesla's a little, slightly higher. Rest is trading lower. But Meta had such a spectacular day yesterday. I'm not surprised we're seeing a little weakness there, but they had some big news. Looking at some of the news behind the tape, Google's trading slightly lower, about 0.5% lower, but their Waymo operation, they opened its robo taxi service in San Francisco to the general public. So that could be pretty hot for them. Meta Platforms, listen, as I said, they had a really strong day yesterday. As they announced Fediverse, which is like a sharing between global social networking or interconnecting servers. I mean, that's big news. I mean, you can follow different platforms, over their Threads feed. So yeah, it is pretty positive, for Meta Platforms. Going on to the Dow Jones 30 stocks, and we're looking at McDonald's. I was reading an article about their margins, profit margins on their $5 meal deal. They're said they're tight, but positive as they attempt to lure back big crowds. Now, it's positive because you get a bigger margin on fries and soft drinks than you do on burgers, and when you add it all together, there is some profit margins in that $5 meal deal. And what they're hoping for is when you go into McDonald's, you're going to get your $5 meal deal, but your buddy's going to get the double cheeseburger deal, and that's going to be hopefully where their revenue comes in. We'll have to wait and see if this turns out to be successful for them. Let's talk Salesforce for a second. Ticker CRM. Charlie Richard Mary had a nice day yesterday, but it's flat this morning. Remember, they're having a shareholders meeting tomorrow, so they could be pumping out some press releases tomorrow morning before the meeting. So let's keep an eye on shares of Salesforce for some weakness today. Verizon, ticker VZ, they're unveiling my home internet entertainment offering. This could be something. We got to keep an eye on Verizon, shares of Verizon. I think it's a little expensive at 41. I like it, in the 30s, but at 41 it's a little expensive. But this is interesting news on the home internet entertainment offering. Okay, let's talk merger news. Dash, ticker DASH, David Apple, Sam Henry. DoorDash is in takeover talks with Deliveroo, but the talks are said to be in an impasse over valuation concerns. Spear Entertainment, ticker SPHR, Sam Paul, Henry Richard, Steve Cohen, 0.72, is said to have taken a sizable stake in Spear Entertainment. RIVN, ticker RIVN, Richard India, Victor Nancy, Volkswagen in a joint venture. VW to invest $1 billion in Volkswagen's ready to add, $2 to $3 more billion if this joint venture turns to be successful. Whirlpool, let's talk WHR, William Henry Richard. They're said to be in talks with, on a merger with German engineering firm Bosch. That kind of makes a lot of sense. WHR. We're taking a look at WHR this morning, and hey, guess what? The stock is kind of flat. It's actually down a penny right now. It was trading higher yesterday, but it did hit a high of 105.27 this morning. So let's keep an eye on shares of Bosch. Oh no, it is up. It's up $15, 102.13. So yeah, Bosch is that deal could be very profitable for both firms. Okay, let's talk guidance. Let's talk Progressive Software, ticker PRGS. Paul, Richard, Grace, Sam. They raised their full year 2024 EPS for you to 470 to 480. Street estimate was 469, which is why the stock being trading 48 to 49 seems a little off to me this morning. FedEx, ticker FDX, they see full year 2025 EPS coming in $20 to $22. Street estimate is $20.91. Okay, that's in the middle. That's good. General Mills, ticker GIS, Grace India, Sam, they see full year 25 EPS down to up 1%. Consensus estimate is $4.67. Let's talk shareholders meeting. Nvidia, we mentioned earlier, their shareholders meeting starts at noon today. Salesforce, CRM, they're having their shareholders meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. And RIVN, ticker RIVN, they got an investors day tomorrow that's going to start at 9 a.m. This could be another little boom for RIVN. So let's keep an eye on shares of RIVN, during the day. Maybe there's some weakness. Buybacks, FedEx, ticker FDX, they're going to be buying back 2.5 billion shares of common stock, in 2025, they said. In terms of catalyst calls, BEKE, Boy, Edward, Kilo, Edward. Listen, it remains a top pick over at Citibank. But the key catalyst here is there's some potential, opportunity for, China to do stimulus actions when the government body gets together on July 3rd, and that could be a catalyst for the stock. So keep an eye on shares of BEKE, Boy, Edward, Kilo, Edward. And that's what I have for you about news in the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us today?
I got to stick with Micron, ticker MU, Michael Uncle. Listen, stock's trading higher right now, but earnings are due out after the bell. EPS is 35 cents. Expected move is 12.81%. You look at yesterday's call volume, 171, 160 calls traded against 173, 662. I mean, yeah, okay. Look at the open interest, 721, 118 to 513, 444. Okay, that is, I do like that. Let me see something. No, Micron was 171,760 calls to 73,662. So, that's almost 3-to-1. It's definitely 2-to-1. Very positive. And let's take a look at the other factors. The major brokers do love the stock. I mean, got buy ratings on it. They're increasing price targets. And what did the CEO say last quarter? He said our preeminent product portfolio positions us to deliver a strong fiscal second half of 2024. Nice to see. I want to get into this 144 area. And I'd like to get in 144, 135, 143.50 to 144.20, somewhere around there. But this one could really see some strong gains today, specifically when those earnings come out. But if I get my 1% during the day, I'm going to take it and walk away and live to trade another day. That's my plan, because that move of 12.81%, that's pretty strong. So yeah, but I do like Micron, ticker MU. We'll see how it's trading today, and I'll make a decision later today whether I hold it or not. But MU is my pick of the day, Emily. Michael Uncle.
Micron, it is today, putting those data points together, looking for that entry point, and as always, looking for that 1% and walking away if you get it. And coming up, we're going to see if your strategies worked on yesterday's pick of the day, so stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, sending it back to you.
Okay, what do we see here going on? Ticker VIR, they get FDA clearance, fast track designation for a couple of their drugs. Apple's services AI to be incremental level for growth. We'll see. That's according to B of A. CrowdStrike exceeds 1 billion sales with CDW. Okay. CME Group Google Cloud to build new private Google Cloud region in Illinois. LUV, Larry Uncle Victor, Southwest Airlines slips as the airline cuts Q2 revenue outlook. We knew that. HIMS, ticker HIMS. There's a war over that cheaper Ozempic. It's not going to end well for some of these stocks. Goldman Sachs, $3.4 billion for buying real estate fund stakes. Interesting. Carvana expands same-day vehicle deliveries to Richmond, Virginia area. Okay. What else do we see here? General Motors, the company's robotaxi unit Cruise said Tuesday it named former Xbox founding engineer as its new CEO. Boeing at the FAA is adopting a new airworthiness directive for 13 Boeing 757-200 airplanes. Okay. On 3M, Honeywell, and 16 other defendants were sued yesterday by Connecticut firefighters who said their protective gear was contaminated by toxic forever chemicals linked to cancer. And JP Morgan put out a price target raise in Campbell Soup to 52. They also raised Pepsi to 184 from 181. Sanofi starts bidding process to sell its consumer health division, ticker SNY, Sam Nancy Yellow. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off today, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Delta. Now, you pointed out throughout the show, Southwest gave some not great guidance. It's hitting the whole airline sector today, but you were looking at Delta yesterday, looking for your specific entry point, hoping for that 1% to walk away with a gain. How did your call work out?
I did make money in it. I got to tell you, Delta Airlines worked out well for me. The fact of the matter is, stock opened up at 49.55, which was high, but I just kind of sat back and I waited. I was doing other stuff, and next thing you know, I look up and the stock's trading, the stock was trading, 49.06, and I got in 49.08, and I was able to ride that all the way up to 49.65, so that was a nice little gainer. So I made my 1%, and I called it a day. And stock didn't hold up great. When the market fell, and Delta went along with it. There's weakness in there today because of Southwest Airlines. Whether that's justified to hit Delta or not, I'll have to consider that. But I made money in Delta, so I can't complain. Delta was a winner for me, Emily, yesterday.
Another win in the books there, Bill. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Micron pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.